Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board directs candidates with biometric issues to write UTME in Abuja. House of Representatives Speaker Femi Bajabiamila plans removal of honorable from Rep's designation. Police neutralize and repel attack on cooks in that community. And on the foreign scene, Malawi keeps schools shut as cholera deaths surge. Good evening, you're listening to Freedom Global News on 99.5 FM. My name is Zara Zanna. Today is the 2nd of January 2023, and now the news in full. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has directed candidates with biometric challenges during registration for the 2023 UTME to proceed to its headquarters in Abuja. JAMB gave the directive in the latest edition of its bulletin released today. The examination body said candidates who encounter biometric troubles during their registration process will complete the process at its headquarters in Abuja, where they will also write their exam. JAMB insisted on its no biometrics, no exam stance for all candidates taking the 2023 UTME. JAMB said all the accredited CBT centers have been empowered for real-time online registration. It fixed January 14th for the commencement of registration and April 29th for the 2023 UTME. It directed prospective candidates to register at only partnering centers or JAMB offices across the country. The board said any candidate who ignores this directive will not be able to complete their registration. JAMB also asked candidates to create their profiles on its portal to avoid any delay during their registration process. It stressed that there will be no offline exemption or flight mode registration. Members of the House of Representatives may no longer be addressed as honorables, as the Speaker, Femi Bajabiamila, has sponsored a bill seeking to change the lawmakers' appellation to representatives. The legislative is entitled A Bill for an Act to Amend the Legislative Houses, Powers and Privileges Act 2017. Already members of the Ninth House, including the Speaker, have been using Rep before their names instead of the Honorable or On that has been used for ages. But Bajabiamila is now seeking to legalize the change in the address and designation of a member through the amendment bill. The bill seeks to insert new sections 21 and 22 into the Legislative Houses, Powers and Privileges Act, which read 21. A member of the Senate shall be designated and addressed as a senator and shall be entitled to have before his name the word senator during his term in office and for life. The Speaker wrote in the explanatory note, this bill seeks to define the designation and address before the name of a member of the National Assembly. On sports, the chairman of the nation's Interim Management Committee, IMC, Benga Elegbele, has made it clear that the main concern of the league body ahead of the new Nigerian Professional Football League and PFL season scheduled to kick off on January 8 is the welfare of players. Muhammad Sani Uba has details of this and other sports updates.
Benga Elegbele said the Interim Management Committee's vision was to see that players unwell, which he believed will see them remain at home instead of rushing to play in obscure countries. He promised that the league body will ensure a violence-free atmosphere at all venues where the safety of fans and officiating officials will be guaranteed. He also expressed confidence that the 2023 season will kick off as scheduled on January 8, insisting that it is in the best interest of all for the season to be an abridged league. Meanwhile, Paris Saint-Germain have entered the race to sign informed Napoli forward Victor Osimhen next summer. Current PSG coach Christopher Galtier, who signed the striker while he was at Lille, is keen to reunite with the Napoli star, who is currently the leading scorer in the Italian Serie A with 9 goals. In another update, Brazilian icon Pelé will be laid to rest on the 9th floor of a vertical cemetery overlooking the Santos football pitch in his home city to honor his father, who wore the number 9 jersey as a player. Pele will be let in the vault at the Memorial Necropole Osomenika tomorrow, just a mile away from the stadium that made him famous. Pele fans sleep on streets, with some arriving 14 hours before the funeral to pay respects. It was reported that the Brazilian player spent a long time thinking about where he wanted to be buried before deciding on his final resting place by paying homage to his father Dodinho. And on tennis, Novak Djokovic received a positive welcome back to Australia as he made a rare doubles appearance at the Adelaide International. The Serb was deported prior to the 2022 Australian Open because of his COVID-19 vaccination status. Muhammad Sani Uba, Freedom Radio.
The Global News is coming to you from Freedom Radio 99.5 FM. You can send your comments, opinions, and watch us live on Freedom Radio Nigeria on Facebook.com. You can get the link to the page on our website, freedomradionig.com, or call us through this number, 0824444163. Welcome back. You're still listening to Freedom Global News on 99.5 FM. The police command in Katsina State today neutralized a suspected terrorist while repelling their attack on Magama Jibia local government area of the state. The command's public relations officer, SP Gambo Isa, stated this in a statement in Katsina. He said that one of the terrorists was neutralized and one AK-47 rifle was recovered with 4 magazines containing 90 rounds of 7.62 millimeters ammunition of AK-47 rifles. The PPRO added that money and other exhibits were also recovered after the encounter. According to him, many of the terrorists escaped with gunshot injuries. 2 policemen also sustained injuries during the encounter. Issa revealed that the injured policemen were taken to Jibia Hospital for treatment and had already been discharged. He further said that search parties were still combining the area with a view of arresting or recovering more dead bodies of the terrorists. For tomorrow's weather forecast in some cities in Nigeria and parts of Niger Republic. Here's the report.
Kano tomorrow morning is expected to have sunny intervals and light winds at 13 degrees Celsius and later 10 to 17 degrees Celsius with moderate breeze. Katsina will experience sunny and gentle intervals at 14 degrees Celsius and later 10 to 17 degrees Celsius with moderate breeze. Kaduna will have a sunny and gentle breeze at 16 degrees Celsius and later 10 to 20 degrees Celsius with moderate breeze. Abuja is expected to have sunny intervals at 19 degrees Celsius and later 10 to 25 degrees Celsius with sunny intervals and light winds. Lagos will be sunny and have gentle breeze at 14 degrees Celsius and later 10 to 17 degrees Celsius with moderate breeze. Moving to Niger Republic, Maradi is expected to be hazy and have a fresh breeze at 15 degrees Celsius and later 10 to 21 degrees Celsius with clear sky and a gentle breeze. While Zender will have a sunny intervals at 15 degrees Celsius and later 10 to 21 degrees Celsius with clear sky and gentle breeze. Nefisata Adam Salu, Freedom Radio.
On business, Abdulrahman Adu Baba has updates.
The Debt Management Office, DMO, today announced as it is first bond issuance for 2023 to Federal Government of Nigeria, FGN, saving bonds for subscription. According to a statement by the DMO, one is a 2-year FGN saving bond due in January 11, 2025 at the interest rate of 9.60% per annum. The other is a 3-year FGN saving bond due in January 11, 2026 at the interest rate of 10.60% per annum. The DMO said that the opening date will be January 3rd, while the closing date will be January 6th, and the settlement date January 11, while coupon payment dates will be April 11, July 11, October 11, and January 11. The DMO said that FGN saving bonds qualified as securities in which trustees could invest under the trustee investment account. It noted that the bonds were backed by the full faith and the credit of the FGN and the charged off in the general asset of the country. Meanwhile, head of the International Monetary Fund (IMF), Kristalina Georgieva, has said that the world's economy is in for a tougher year as it is projected one-third of the globe sliding into recession. The year 2022 had seen various countries suffering in the ripple effect of the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict, the resurgence of the COVID-19 virus in China, as well as stifling inflation indices, not just on the African continent, but amongst some of the biggest economies. Georgieva, while explaining the IMF's October Global Economic Growth Outlook for 2023, insisted that the worst of economics might likely not be spread from the far-reaching effect of the recession. The 59-year-old economist also noted that the Chinese economy should also expect slow growth as they continue to fight the pandemic that has affected production. Abdurrahman Adubaba, Freedom Radio.
And on the foreign scene, Malawi has delayed the opening of public schools in its two major cities of Blantyre and Lilongwe, the health minister said today, to try to slow down a surge in cholera deaths. The total number of cases has surged to 17,824 and the number of deaths to 595 since cases were first reported in March, with the mortality rate increasing to 3.34%, according to the Ministry of Health. Cholera is an annual problem during Malawi's rainy months from November to March, when the number of deaths is around 100 a year. But the current outbreak is expected to be the worst yet. A new reopening date will be announced later, she said. Meanwhile, the United States has dropped Burkina Faso from its trade preference program, citing deep concerns over unconstitutional change in government in the West African country, the U.S. Trade Representative's office stated. Frustrations over the government's inability to curb activity by armed groups spurred two military coups in Burkina Faso in 2022. The previous and current military governments have made efforts to beef up security, but the attacks have continued. The African Growth and Opportunity Act provides sub-Saharan African nations with duty-free access to the U.S. if they meet specific eligibility requirements, including making progress towards political pluralism. The USTR's office said Burkina Faso had failed to meet the requirements of the AGOA statute and would be given clear benchmarks for a pathway towards reinstatement to the trade program, adding that Washington would work with Burkina Faso. On Monday, the Burkina Ministry of Foreign Affairs reacted to the decision by repeating a November statement saying the timetable for a return to democracy had not changed. And with that, we've come to the end of today's global news. But before we leave, highlights of our top stories. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has directed candidates with biometric challenges during registration for the 2023 UTME to proceed to its headquarters in Abuja. Members of the House of Representatives may no longer be addressed as honorables, as the Speaker, Femi Bajabiamila, has sponsored a bill seeking to change the lawmakers' appellation to representatives. The police command in Katsina State today neutralized a suspected terrorist while repelling their attack in Magama Jibia local government area of the state. And on the foreign scene, Malawi has delayed the opening of public schools in its two major cities. The health minister stated today that it was to try to slow down a surge in cholera deaths. On behalf of the entire production team and I, Zara Zanna, thank you for listening.